What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. Well, by the time you get to watch this video, I've been away on vacation for about a week, so chances are I'm not gonna answer any comments for a few more days. Alright, so for today we have a brand new action camera from AKASO, and this one is called the V50 and it costs somewhere around $110. For that price, we get the action camera itself, and this action camera can record in real 4K. We also have a waterproof case, and the manufacturer suggests that the waterproof case is good to up to 30 meters in the water. However, I haven't actually been swimming with it, but I did have the case in water and there was no water going inside. We also have a remote control for the camera, and that's very useful mostly if you don't want to touch the camera. So if you have the camera on a tripod or anything like that, you can just use that remote control. We also get 3 batteries for this camera, and that's great because this way you don't have to go around looking for batteries for it. There is a user manual in there as well, and the user manual it's in English and it's got a whole bunch of important information. And aside from that, you're gonna find a whole bunch of mounts and accessories for the camera, so definitely more than we see for most action cameras these days. So this camera is using the AKASO V50 CPU and the Panasonic 34112 image sensor with a field of view of 170 degrees. And as I mentioned earlier, it can record in real 4K, and we also have image stabilization for 4K recordings. The camera itself, it's mostly made out of plastic and it looks just like all the other action cameras that we've seen on the channel lately. So on the front we have the power button, and that's also a mode button. We have the lens and a couple of LEDs. At the top we have the recording button, and that's also the OK and the Wi-Fi button, and we have some holes for the microphone. And since we are talking about the microphone, we might as well check out some microphone samples that I've recorded with this camera.
Another day, another microphone test to another action camera. So this one right here, it's the AKASO V50, and as you can probably see, I am inside the car, the windows are closed, and the only thing you should hear is my voice. So this is how the microphone sounds for this action camera. Alright, we have yet another microphone test to the V50 action camera. Once again, it's fairly windy outside and pretty cold as well, so I'm not going to be doing this for long. But under these conditions, this is how the microphone will sound. Alright, so this is a quick microphone test with the AKASO V50. This time around I'm inside the house and there is no other noise aside from my voice. Of course, I'm holding the camera in my hand, so about half a meter away, and I'm recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. And as you've heard for yourself, the microphone recordings sound quite good, so no complaints about that. Alright, so moving back to the camera, on the left hand side we're gonna find the HDMI out. We also have the micro USB charging port and the slot for the SD card. This camera can record while it's charging, and that's great for a couple of reasons. First of all, we have a driving mode available, and that means that you can use this camera as a dash cam in your car. And secondly, you could attach a power bank to it and you're not going to be running out of power anytime soon. That's also great if you plan on doing time lapses, because as we all know, time lapses take quite a long time to do, and the camera can do time lapses with the push of a button, and this is an example of a short time lapse that I've done with this camera a couple of days ago. And we are moving back to the action camera. So I was able to use a couple of 64 gig SD cards with this camera, and they both seem to work quite good. And I'm actually gonna leave a couple of links in the video's description just in case you don't know what SD card to get with your camera. On the other side of the camera we have a couple of buttons that will help you navigate through the menus, and all the way at the bottom we have a screw hole, so you could technically place this on a tripod, and we also have a little plastic door that covers the 1100 mAh battery. It takes about an hour to fully charge the battery from 0 to 100, and on one charge you can record for about 50 to 55 minutes recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. If you record in 1080p you can record for about an hour and a half. And lastly, on the back of the camera we have a 2-inch screen. Unfortunately this is not a touch screen, and we also don't get the best resolution. We don't have great viewing angles, and the screen doesn't seem to get that bright. So it really depends where you are and where you are recording, because it may be difficult to see the screen depending how much sun it's hitting it. Luckily, the camera can make a Wi-Fi network, and it can also be controlled from your smartphone or tablet. Of course, you're gonna have to download an app on your smartphone or tablet, and you can find that app in the Google Play Store or the iOS Store. Once you have the app installed, you can just turn on the Wi-Fi network from the camera. You can connect to it with your smartphone or tablet, and then you can see everything that the camera sees right on your smartphone. From the app you can start and stop recordings. You can also change settings for the camera, and you can see everything that you have saved on the camera. This works good up to 10 meters away from the camera. After that it tends to disconnect quite often. Another important feature for this camera is the image stabilization for 4K recordings, and that's not something that we see for all action cameras. So next I want to show you a sample of the image stabilization on and with the image stabilization off.
And as you've seen for yourself, the image stabilization works, but it's not the best out there, but I guess it's better than not having any. So next, I want to show you some video recordings that I've done during the day with this camera, and all the samples that you're about to see are recorded in 4K at 30 frames per second. And as you've seen for yourself, if you have plenty of light, the recordings do look quite good. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for nighttime recordings, and next I want to show you some samples that I've done at nighttime with this camera, and once again, they're all recorded in 4K at 30 frames per second.
Well, even if the internal is not a million times better, it's just
It
a
is
bit
better, yeah.
That's what George and Rodica went for New Year's.
Yeah, that's where they had the Romanian. Are they still married?
They are.
They are,
She
yeah.
came to Canada. She seemed nice. I met her for the first time.
And as you've seen for yourself, the nighttime recordings don't look that great, so all the videos are kind of dark and kind of grainy. So if you're planning to use this camera for nighttime recordings, I recommend that you look for something else, because this doesn't do good in low light. As for pictures, well, the pictures do much better than the actual videos in my opinion. So these are some pictures that I took during the day and during the night. So as you can probably see for yourself, the pictures do look much better than the actual video recordings. Using the camera, it's very straightforward. So we have the video recording mode and the picture taking mode, and you can choose in between those two modes by pressing the mode button on the front of the camera. Each mode has its own settings menu. So for example, if you're in the video recording mode, you can change the video resolution, you can change the image stabilization, so you can turn that on or off, and you can basically switch in between other video modes. So if you are planning to do a time lapse, you can just select the video mode as a time lapse mode, and so on. And of course, there is a general settings menu, and from there you can format the SD card, you can change the languages, and the camera has a whole bunch of languages available. You can change the date stamps. So basically, if you want to have the time and the date on your images, you can choose to have that on or off, and so on. So definitely a lot of options that you can change with this camera. And it's time to conclude this video. So this camera offers a lot of value, mostly if you take into consideration all the stuff that comes with it, because if you'd be to buy those batteries separately and the remote control, you'd probably have to spend another $40–50, but with this one you get all that right in the box. The camera does great for daytime recordings, but it doesn't do that great for nighttime recordings. So as I said earlier, if you're planning to record stuff at night, I do recommend that you look for something else, because this doesn't do good in low light conditions. But other than that, I think that it works fairly good. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.